seeing what you can do.
Yeah, I think just trying to get on the range first of all, and then just trying to get the body moving back. Obviously playing last week, and then just trying to get back into it. Just always got some drills to try and keep on top of. First of all, just trying to get the body moving, get a bit of a feel for the conditions early on, and then just probably get out on course after that and get going. But
Perfect,
yeah, and just varies so much every week. Some weeks it's warm, some weeks it's a bit cooler, and just trying to get a feel for how far it's going to go.
Anything you've changed? Anything that we've got different in the bag, or have you kept everything as it has been?
Kept everything the same. Obviously got the new JPX 919s in.
Yeah, going all right?
Yeah, love them. The second week in last week, and
that was a nice week, eh?
Yeah, so it's, the first week I had them in, I had a hole in one, so
wow.
I'm off to a flyer. But it's...
I'll have to wrestle you for them back then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
the grips will stay on to the steels coming through.
Yeah, I think I hit about 3 or 4 balls on the range with each club in Switzerland, and just put them straight in. I didn't even have a practice round with them, and great. It feel great, and very happy with it. Yeah, I think I've always been able to sort of mix it up, and normally it's just feel for me. Like I don't think I've ever pulled out TrackMan or anything like that when I've changed clubs, but I think normally if you hit a couple of shots, you can pretty much tell straight away. And I hit some balls on the range, and it was almost automatic that they were going to go. I mean, the old JPX irons were great. I love those, but these just had a little bit more flight to them, a little bit higher flight, which is what I need. I've always struggled to get a nice flight with a ball, and these felt like it helped me, and I could see that straight away, just a slight change in it. For me, once you find something you really like, it's always hard to go away from, but if you're not playing well, you start searching for things, and you start searching for things to blame. But I've always been pretty comfortable when I'm using something. It's very hard for me to go away from it, but when I'll always try a few different things, and like I said, straight away in the first couple of shots whether it's better or worse, and most of the time, 90% of the time, it's definitely better when you try something. So it's always been a pretty easy change for me, but once I've got something in there, it's hard to go away from it. But there's all these new great products that keep coming out, and it's nice to have some fresh models in there. Definitely, first look, put it down on the ground. If it doesn't suit your eye, straight away you've sort of lost it.
Get it out of your hands.
It's okay. No, that's not good. Yeah. Hit 1 or 2 shots, and I think you know. And then if you're umming and ahhing a little bit about it, I think it's then you pull out TrackMan and then compare the numbers to what you have been using, and
go back to the factual side.
Yeah, and then I mean, 90% of the time it's just like, okay, bang, on the ground, that looks great. Okay, now hit it, and it performs the way your eyes, the way you want your eyes to see it. It's pretty much straight in the bag for me, and most of the time that's how I've sort of, a little bit old school, but that's how I've sort of done it. But mind you, it's not as cold as what it was yesterday. So to me, it's all about just basic fundamentals, getting started, get the start line. I've always liked to see a fade. Anytime I try and hit a draw, for me, I always get in strife, and I can't control the draw anywhere near what I can with a fade. So if the ball's moving left to right, for me, that's almost my straight shot, and that's how I know how to play. And if I get away from that, that's when I get lost, and get lost pretty quickly. Well, I'd just check and see if anyone saw it, because hit a draw. But normally, if I hit a straight shot, to me that looks like it draws 1 or 2 yards. So, but I mean, you're always, sometimes your body just feels different. Some mornings it just feels easier to hit a draw, but most of the time I'd like to see just starting on the line that I'm picking and just turning off that and just a nice fade, and that's how I sort of know how to play. Yeah, if I can just see it starting on line, just falling off my start line, everything's going to feel pretty comfortable for me. And
so here's another one of my standard questions. Do you know before a tournament starts if you're going to have a good tournament or not?
Not really, because I think you kind of raise your expectations if everything feels pretty good, and that's when you sort of get in a bit of trouble. But last week actually felt as good as I've felt for a long time, probably a good 12 months, I think, and actually felt like I was going to have a good week last week, and then to go and do it, but it was nice. But yeah, you kind of know that everything's feeling like it's in its place, and yeah, some weeks it's like, oh, we're in for a long one here, or a short one. But yeah, you have a rough idea. You have a little bit of confidence, get a little bit of feedback from what you're doing. But yeah, it's always a 50-50 thing. If you think you're going to have a good week, that's normally when you get caught out and you maybe get a bit complacent. So yeah, there's been a few weeks where I think even just mid-tournament you feel like you warm up and nothing's going right. It doesn't matter what club you hit, body just doesn't feel right. And that's kind of like what I was saying before. You go out on the course with no expectations whatsoever, and all of a sudden you might shoot 6 or 7 under, and you're like, where did that come from after that warm-up? And even yesterday I warmed up really well, probably the best I warmed up for the whole week, and then went out and didn't play well for the day. Just completely lost my feel out on the course, maybe because it was about 0, but yeah, it's I think the whole expectation thing, when you warm up, when you've got no expectations after a warm up, it's almost the best. I normally play better most times. I think you probably learn from it. You think, well, it's just a warm up at the end of the day. You've got to get out there and play. So, you know, I've probably had my best rounds when I've warmed up poorly. So, I don't think there's any real mad science to it all. But yeah, it's a bit of the unknown. But for me, not that you want to go and warm up poorly, but yeah, I've always had my best rounds when I hasn't been feeling that great, and you know, it's just the beauty of this game, I think, more than anything. I think for me, I think it's really important to get the gapping of the, obviously, the loft. I've got 60, 54 and 48 degree, so nice 6 degrees gap for the wedges, and then just a normal breakdown through my irons. For me, bit of a muscle back 3 iron, and then I've got a 5 wood, which I feel like I get a nice kind of strong flight out of. I can hit high and low, and then into the woods. But
I'm sure that came in handy a little bit last week up on the links.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the little grind on that.
Yeah, for sure. It's pretty bouncy sort of turf there, so you sort of really feel like you've got to take that bounce out of the club, which we're lucky enough to be able to do. And
yeah,
but then obviously having a 54, when you're in some of those bunkers, you need the bounce when you're in the bunkers. So it's nice to have both the options. They're both pretty new, those 2 wedges.
And that's the question we always get asked. How often do you guys change your wedges?
You know, normally I like to leave them in there for quite a while. I know a lot of guys change just with the grooves, and they wear them out pretty quickly. But once when the head suits my eye, I find it hard, because I think heads can vary just in the slightest feel and look. So I probably every maybe 3 or 4 months I'll try and change wedges, but you know, I try and leave them in there as long as I can.